up, good people? You're watching Brudsy Entertainment. Hello.
Yeah.
The music just wanted to roll, didn't it? What is up, good people? You're watching Brudsy Entertainment. We are live, me and the lovely Kitty. Kitty, how are you today?
I'm fine, thank you. I'm fine. I've been to the gym. I'm happy. I'm smiley. I'm bendy.
Good. And shout out to Kitty, everyone. Make sure everyone goes and subscribes to her channel, guys. She is... Let's double check.
Only kitty cat.
Only kitty cat, indeed. Only kitty cat.
As in the one and only kitty cat.
Lovely. Okay. What's on the? Where do we start? Do we want to start with this Piers Morgan stuff? This interview, freedom of speech, everything going crazy on there.
I think you can, because I think the freedom of speech will then lead us into where we're going to go, because freedom of speech has been a hot topic, obviously. Yay.
Okay.
Yay. Are we calling him Kanye or are we going with yay?
Oh,
yay.
I don't know, man. This I'm not really down with the kids anymore. So Kanye West, Mr. West, call him Kanye West.
Mr. West is having a mental breakdown. In my mind, he's having a mental breakdown. We know he's got bipolar, and he has been saying some absolutely awful things. Awful, disgusting, vile. Nobody is happy with what he's saying.
Okay. Let's roll off one of those sound bites from what he's been saying. He's basically slamming the Jewish community, and he doesn't realize he's doing it. I think when he does, well, let's just say he's saying basically treat Jews as slaves and they should be whipped and all this sort of stuff. A whole load of crazy stuff that he's talking about. That I feel, and this is where I feel with Kanye, is he has obviously dealt with a lot of Jewish companies within the record labels, movies, and blah blah blah, and he feels that he's been screwed over by them. But rather than calling them out by their name, by their companies, he's attacking the whole Jewish community, and this is where his argument just goes out the window. Like, you know, it just doesn't make sense. And ironically, Elon Musk didn't actually get rid of his account for that, saying that.
No.
Because according to Elon Musk, freedom of speech, you can say what he wants. He actually I don't know if it's permanently suspended or whatever, but basically because of the, I don't know, Kanye put some porn up or something like that. And,
legal porn, wasn't it? It was legal porn. It wasn't illegal porn. It was legal porn, and that's what he was suspended for. I'm sure it was suspended. Obviously people are saying, when does freedom of speech become hate speech, and is there any difference? I mean, you can say something, you can say you don't like somebody or you don't like something, but the level of vileness that throughout.
These influencers don't understand their power. I mean, by all means, it's not as much as what they think it is. Like, you know, yes, they got people that like them and follow them for whatever reasons, but no one's really listening to these guys thinking, oh yeah, I'm going to listen to what Kanye, like, you know, they're rappers, you know, and they're in a box, and, you know, he does fashion and all that sort of stuff. I don't know how respected he is within that industry, but he's obviously done very well for himself. He's a very successful businessman, a very successful music artist. He seems to have just lost the plot. Rather than writing some quality songs or something, he seems to be just lost the plot, where he's just going after all these people. But rather than calling the companies out, he wants to go after the whole Jewish community. And
do you believe he's got a mental health issue?
I don't think his mental health issue has played any part in what he's up to. He has used this, like, you know, he done an advert in the Super Bowl to promote his business, and then when people went to see what shirts he was selling, it was a white shirt. It was a white shirt with a swastika. He actually done very well from it, apparently, you know. So he understands that controversy sells. I think most people understand that.
Yeah.
But it's kind of at a ruthless spot. I mean, because some people will say, like, you know, if you could get away with doing something like that and make a whole load of money, would you do it? You know, it's a different argument to the man on the ground. But most people with morals probably wouldn't do something like that. Like, there's a lot of ways that me, you, anyone could get a lot more successful by doing other stuff. Like, you know, I could, like, if I wanted to, you know, I work with, like, you know, God knows how many people. Like, I could do a whole load of crazy stuff online. I could show Kanye a few things or two if you want
Yeah.
to see. If you
You
want to
could
see
yay up
naked,
on me, couldn't you? You could yay up on me.
yeah. I could have like 5 or 6 girls like butt naked, like. But yeah, it's this is one of those things as well, though, when it comes to success. Sorry, going off topic a little bit, but we won't go off topic. But with success, like sometimes like with what's her name, Lily Phillips, and the other
Yeah.
one,
Katie Robbins and
Katie Robbins, and what's the other
Bonnie
one's name?
Blue. Is it
Bonnie
Bonnie?
Blue. Yeah, Bonnie Blue. Like they have stepped out of the realms. Like they basically said, "Fuck it, I'm getting the bag." 100 men, 100 men in a
Yeah.
day, and some people are going to be like, yeah, fair play to them. They've got the balls to do it, and some people are going to say, it's too much. But one thing's quite sorry, I'm going off topic, guys. I'm going on a rant over here. Katie Robertson. I went over to her page today because she was live on TikTok. And I thought I'd be sneaky and just try, the old follow the follows, sort of follow the followers sort of thing to see what sort of fan base. And when I look through it, this is what's really scary. And you can have a look for yourself. Anyone goes to Katie Robertson's TikTok page and see who's following her. You're talking young girls as young as 14 are following her. This is what I mean. I expected it to be all men.
Yeah,
all men. All men. It was young girls as young as 14 on there following Katie Robertson.
I mean, I did a parody of it the other day. I don't know whether you saw it. I'd got a bottle in my hand and it was some lip syncing. Of course I'm not going to do it. One of those, because when somebody says, "Are you going to pull a Katie Robertson?" and I did that parody, and I thought to myself, how far do you go? And then how do you top it? Because and I know you've only got a shelf life.
Yeah.
So how do you top it? So, like you say, this is where Kanye has had to top it. So he's gone this far, and then he's gone, well, I've done that now, so what else can I do? Boom. I've already said I'm a artsy. I've already said I'm this, that, and the other. I hate the Jews. I hate this. What is next? I mean, he's brought out a T-shirt of P. Diddy beating Cassie.
That just screams desperate. That just screams desperate.
I genuinely, and everybody's up in arms about this. Is he coercing Bianca? I don't think he is. I think he's made it look like he's coercing her, because again, he's the villain. He's that sensationalizing the whole thing.
Yeah. This is where management can get a bad call. Like, within the industry that we're all in, like we both understand it sort of, and this is why when I work with people, I'm like, what makes what within your comfort limits of what you do sort of thing. But we are still working together. Even if I came up with a crazy idea, like what he's obviously done, but Bianca understands what the rewards of it. Like her OnlyFans is probably very impressive. Like
Yeah.
So it's kind of a use situation. Like someone's coming up with ideas. This is what happens with social media. People come up with ideas. Normally it's not the creator, and the creator goes and does it basically. So you're both mutually responsible for that in that agreement, sort of. So I don't think
I didn't even know her name before this. I didn't even know her name.
No.
Now I know her name. I know how to spell it correctly. I know how to spell her surname. Do you understand what I'm saying? This is her moment. This was her moment.
Yep. And it's really upsetting, and it's very dangerous, and more towards the point of Piers Morgan, the actual show. They had that Choke No Joke and Myron Gaines, and then they had the other guy I didn't know. Choke No Joke was really funny. He was the black guy with the hat, and he was the one saying to Myron, the Asian black looking kind of guy. He was the one trying to reason with him as a brother. Like he was like, "Bruh, what would you say if
I know.
they were saying that about this?" And this is the thing. He obviously didn't know who Myron is. Myron is a self-proclaimed racist. Like he doesn't like black people. Like he slams black people all the time on his show. He's disrespectful to them. He's wore a KKK hood before. Like he's a very hateful human being. Like and he's let. for me, he's let a lot of people down that supported him on the way up. Like, you know, he had a, and you know, some people still follow him. There's a lot of men out there that are very bitter at the world and they hate women, and that's predominantly what Myron's show's about. Like, you know, making women see, like, pointing women's flaws out to them and their requirements in life, like from like a partner and stuff. You know, trying to make it look like it's not realistic. You're worthless. You're shit. Basically, I'm the man. The man's the alpha male and all this sort of shit. That's kind of his thing. So there are a lot of men that are still attracted to him. But I just wish that Choke No Joke guy would have done some research on Myron before he tried to reason with him as a brother. I was just like, as soon as he said it, I was just like, no, you got the wrong one, because
Yeah.
You see Myron, and you'd think he's a black guy, basically, you know, black or Asian, you know. But yeah, Myron's very, according to Myron, you should be able to say whatever you want. Myron is a free speech absolutist.
I sort of understood what he was trying to say with when he said, and I think what he was saying was he wasn't getting his point across. He was saying that basically Kanye was joking, and his dark humor and his sensationalizing of what he's doing. He doesn't probably hate all Jewish people. Like you say, he hates the Jewish people that have had him over, but he knows to get the views and to get the follows, he's got to sensationalize it. I think that's what he was trying to say. Unfortunately, he lost that argument when he started effing and blinding and calling them fucking morons.
Yeah. That's the good old Myron. That's who Myron showed his ass, basically. Myron went into there are these racist groups which I've told you about already on X right now, where they have like white only communities. Myron was in one of those communities. Like, I made a video on it. He tried to get in there and he's trying to wave his flag, trying to talk. He's trying to reason with them, like trying to talk, because he talks their language. He talks the same language that the farthest of the farthest right talk. He talks that language. He's in there trying to reason with them, and they're like, "Get out of here, you N! Get out of here, you N!" Like, you know, and he gets pissed off by it. But I'm just like, bro, you know, you can't. They don't want you. If they had their world the way they wanted it, you would have a bullet in your head somewhere and in the sand. They wouldn't care about you. So this is what I mean. Like, you know, and I understand what you're saying as well. When he's trying to defend Kanye West, he is basically saying what we've basically said. It's a ploy to make. It's a marketing campaign. It's deep. It's ruthless. It takes a lot of balls. But when you've got that sort of money to those sort of people, you know, it's worth it. It's worth it. He's obviously calculated the risk in his head. You know, he's got God knows how much money hidden in crypto and stuff. He knows that they can't touch it all. So it's basically a marketing stunt. So by no means do I believe Kanye meant anything he said. I just think he said it for a reaction. And Myron, I'll give you your flowers. You were right on that point. You know, you were right on that point. But in terms of trying to then, like, when the brother Choke No Joke is trying to say to him, like, how would you feel about white people saying all black people should be hung? Should they be able to say that online, social media? And Myron's like, yeah, I think they should be allowed to say that. Like, you know, this is where I draw the line with this free speech. If you're at home and you want to talk your shit at home. Every man should have the right to say whatever he wants at home. But there is a limit. If you're at home teaching your kids, and we know a lot of these people are, to hate black people, to inflict harm on people of color, people of different religions and stuff like that, you have become a terrorist, and you're radicalizing children, like, you know. And when you allow these groups to fester online, it turns into violence. Like, there's no argument to it, like, you know. So the thing is with Myron, he was an ex-FBI agent. So he must know that, like, you know, when people see things on telly, it can influence, not everyone, it influences people's brains. There are people out there that don't have the strength, the mental fortitude to sort of, like, you know, say, okay, it's not reality. There are people that stay in this hateful bubble, and especially when poverty's around, when the poorest of people are known to be the desperate, and they seem to be the ones that will go out there and do some crazy shit, like, you know, like that we don't want to see. Like, you know, go home, talk your shit at home. Go online, and people start organizing, just like I mentioned to you earlier. ITV released a documentary of a small group, global around all over the UK, different little groups that they've set up. They've set it up as like a training group, like it's called a fitness group, and the people are coached into saying just enough to not get them in trouble. But obviously, the ITV went undercover and found them
Yeah.
out, found out their true intention, which we all know. Like we all know what's out there. Like they'll obviously be monitored and stuff like that. But this is where that free speech and hate speech cross over. If you
Yeah,
if
that's the line, isn't it?
Yeah,
If
indeed.
you are teaching others, it's hate speech. If you have an opinion and it's your opinion and you are keeping it to yourself and you're just it's in your home or whatever. But once you start teaching it to other people, that's hate speech, and
Yeah,
that is the fine line, I think.
yeah,
And then he started going on about the Jewish community to a rabbi, wasn't it?
yeah. Rabbi Shmuley is his name. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he brought up one of them bring up the Holocaust,
Yep.
and he said he sort of went, well, it's a joke. You, oh, you can't joke about that, and even I went, oh, you didn't.
Yep. Yep.
You didn't.
Yep. Yep.
You can't joke about the
There,
Holocaust.
there's don't get me wrong. I've watched a lot of stand-up comedians, and they have gone there in terms of the Holocaust thing. But most of them end up getting in a lot of trouble from it. But I think it's where the delivery is. It's where the delivery is. Like, if there's a joke, like, you will hear black stand-up comics saying jokes. You'll hear. I think I even heard that joke from a Jewish person as well. Believe it or not, joking about things. There's a place for everything. Like, and there's a purpose. A stand-up comic doing something. You might not like it. You might think he was taking the piss, but you won't end up leaving that place thinking this guy
No.
was trying to incite violence and try to go back to it. It's totally different to groups setting up on X and organizing, coming together, pretending they're about democracy and freedom of speech and all this bullshit. Like,
Yes.
I respect. You know what? I respect the bloody ones that just come out and say it how it is.
Don't like them.
I respect them. I respect them better. What do you think? I'd prefer to know who my enemy is rather than someone pretending to be my friend or pretending to be
Exactly.
cool. Like, I prefer to know my enemies, So someone wearing a swastika on the back of their head, I don't need to worry about giving that person energy, They hate me. I was thinking about this today. I don't hate racists. I actually feel sorry for them because, I kind of feel sorry for them. I don't hate. Hate is when you come in and you where my back, where something's been threatened on my side, then that's when that might happen on an individual basis. But other than that, I feel sorry for these people that have just been because most of the time, their brain's been fried, and it's really difficult. Like I've said before, if your dad, and especially as young boys, they look up to their dad. If your dad's taught you to be a certain way, it's very difficult to come out. It's very difficult. You grow up
It
thinking your
is.
dad's a hero, So that's very difficult.
I mean, we were talking about the football hooligans, weren't we? And
Yeah.
we were saying when will they grow up and all this, and they're on the terraces and some of it. I mean, not so much the English fans so much now,
Yep.
but a lot. They're still throwing the bananas and doing their thing,
Yep.
and and like you say, a lot of them now have got mixed race grandchildren.
Yep. No, I think probably one in. I'm pretty sure like one in. I think it's 1 in 4. It might even be more now. 1 in 4 white people have someone of different color in their family.
But if you think about it, and when we go back to the Vikings and whatever, they came over to the UK, and now we've all got this Nordic sort of heritage. It's just the same. We're an island. People are going to come onto an island, and there's going to be sort of a big mixing pot, and it happens. It happens. This is just the next evolvement of it. This is it. And I've sat and talked to these guys, and they're like saying these things about black people, and I'm like, isn't your grandson mixed race? And they're like, yeah, but that's different.
Yeah. That just goes. That just goes to show you how stupid the argument is. It's like stupid. It's like I like watching that documentary the other day. One of the guys was saying he hates black culture and stuff like that, and I was thinking to myself, don't be fooled by what you see on TV. Rap music is not black culture. Yes, it's played a part. It's played a part in it, like the music and the clothes and the cool sort of stuff. That kind of just goes hand in hand. But in terms of the crap that you see on American TV, it's like their brains have been fried by that. Like do they not see normal working class black men going to work every single
Yeah,
day, looking after their families, like just doing what they want to do. But obviously, most of these guys, the really bitter ones, are at home claiming fake disability, and they're angry at life. They feel like their life should be better, and they feel like Joe Bloggs is take trying to take their benefits away from them, so to speak. It can't be their jobs because most of them don't have jobs.
exactly. I don't get that. They're coming over here taking our jobs. Hello?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, are
There's
you a
no
brain
point.
surgeon?
There's no point working. There's no point working. We are better off on the benefits, And a lot of people say that. And what's quite scary in them areas like Middlesbrough, up north, Stoke and stuff like that, they are serial benefit people in their
Yeah.
families. Like there are areas where
Heritage. Yeah.
everyone is on benefits. They got 5 kids. The girls have got kids by the time they're 16. And it's a repeated cycle over and over again. These people, and don't get me wrong, I've been on benefits in my life before. Benefits are there to help people with stability, and if people need them, they need them. But you've got a whole culture of people in areas up north, a whole culture of people that are just serial benefit people. These people do not benefit society. We don't need them. We'd be better off. And I'm talking about the certain type of people. I'm not talking about people that fall into hardship. Yeah, I'm not talking about people that have fallen into hardship and gone on benefits to get themselves stable. And like everyone needs that sort of buffer. I'm talking about the serial benefit people that just want to smoke, drink, and do all that sort of crap. The people that will go into the people that were going to the Tesco's and trying to buy alcohol and cigarettes with those vouchers that they were given for food and stuff like that. Those kind of people, you're given vouchers to put food on the table for your kids, and you're trying to buy cigarettes and alcohol with it. That tells you everything that you need to know. And and for the racist as well, you got that benefit from Marcus Rashford, by the way, for setting up that organization. so all those hungry racist people, serial benefit cheaters, they got those extra benefits from a black person going out of his way, going into government and getting that funding so your kids could eat. But your mum was too selfish, and your mum wanted to spoke it on alcohol and freaking cigarettes. That's gonna
pointing it out that
there are
kids going to school starving,
and that's the shocking part, and that's the serious part. That's
you
shocking.
know. And I saw some interviews with the teachers where they were saying we're having to let them have showers here because then I'm taking their uniforms home because they're not washing them. Where's your dignity? Where is your dignity? Like you say, these serial benefit people, I genuinely believe we need to bring some sort of work for your benefit.
Yeah.
You'll be out cleaning the streets. You'll be out in an old people's home doing the garden. That is how you'll get your benefit. Obviously, if you're disabled, you won't be. But I'm talking about get some pride.
They don't. But the thing about it is, it's easily said that because you've probably had proper role models in your life. People seen your dad go to work, seen your mum do whatever part-time job. If it's very difficult when the people that you're seeing are all living on the same estate.
Yeah.
Their families have all been on the same benefits, and they've been on benefits their whole life, and they have this is bliss. They can get up whatever time they want. They can go to the gym for more than some of them get it free. Some of them get it I pay £60 a month for my gym membership. Some people probably paying £5 a month or whatever it is, or £2, or I don't know, whatever it is that they're paying, for their benefits and stuff. They're living their best life, so to speak. This is their life. They don't see anything else. And what's sad is these are the most angriest people, the people that are just literally on benefits all day long. The worst of the worst are the ones that are claiming mental health just so they can bum around and get money and stuff.
The
like
entitlement as well. That entitlement. I'm due it.
Yeah.
I'm due this. Why are you due this? You've never gone to work. You've never paid national insurance. You've never paid a scrap of tax.
Wait a minute. This is their country and they want it back. This is their country, and
those moments where you're just like, what? what?
Don't
And I
play.
hear them, and I'm like, are
Yeah,
you right?
it is. I think it. I don't know. Like maybe we need to. Do you know what? Put trash all trashing aside. I would really like to speak to some of these people, and I'm gonna really try and focus on getting them on as well. To be honest with you, and not trashing them because I don't want to do that. That's not how help is. Like I think everyone needs a positive role model in their life, and I understand it from their perspective if they've never seen anyone do it. But there's always. It's like saying, how did an athlete or how did someone get out the ghetto, so to speak, and sort of like break the taboos. They worked hard, they went to college or went to training, done training, and became better and got good at a sport. Like, it's all hard work. No, like, there's no such thing as sort of something that's landed on your lap. Like, if if a singing contract lands in your lap and you can't sing, it's no good to you. You know what I mean? You have to work on whatever you're good at. You have to work on it. But yeah, let's leave them alone. Let's leave the
It's an
cereals.
Uncle Bob moment. You know that, don't you? Did you ever see that interview with Lil Wayne? And he was like, I was on the floor. I was dying. The blood was coming out. And this policeman, every policeman stepped over me. He says, but one. He says, and one picked me up and said, this guy's still alive. He says, and he took me to the hospital. He says, and he stayed with me in that hospital. And he literally turned Lil Wayne's life around. He says, and he's still with me now. He says, and I want to give him everything. He says, but he wants to work. He wants to work for me. He wants to work for me. He says, and it's Uncle Bob. And I think everybody needs an Uncle Bob. Everybody that can see the potential in them.
Yep, and they can indeed. But what ends up happening is, like with this group, these far right groups, they get. And when I watched the documentary, I got the feeling of a bunch of young boys lost and just wanted a family, so to speak, or wanted some friends. And they just got together like that, But having all that hate in your mind, it's not good for you. It's not good for you to hate all the time.
No.
Like, if you want to change something, let's just say this. If you've got all this hate in your heart and stuff like that, go to work, have a family, have some kids, and then tell me you've got time for all this hate. And when you've got all this time for all this hate, sitting there typing, making up fake profiles, look at I just said something racist, that time you've taken away from your kids. These people are online, fake profiles, Billy Bob 22, trying to comment under people's posts and stuff like that. That's time you're wasting that you could be spending with your family. Like, no one's promised tomorrow. So these people are just wasting their own time. If all your friends are on benefits and living a certain type of way, that's your future. You're going to be just like that. So you need to aspire to be better. But we get leaders and good speakers, people that know how to say just the right things, and they'll end up following them, and making them more angry while that politician or while that influencer's making profit from them. There's just so many angry souls out there.
Yeah, I mean, they say it's the same in the gang culture, isn't it? As well.
Same.
Yeah, it's exactly the same. We love you. We love you. They don't love you. We love you. We'll look after you. We'll be your family. No, they're just using you for hate, and it's just horrible.
Yep.
But obviously, freedom of speech brings us on to the next subject, doesn't it?
Indeed. Where are we going? I'll let you kick it off.
It's freedom of speech on X, literally.
Okay.
Because little X,
yep,
Elon Musk's son.
Oh, good God.
Yes.
I think we got the video. Let's start. Let's kick it off, shall we?
Yes.
If they go down the grocery aisle and the prices from one year to the next are the same, and they're
Wow. I want you to shut your. Did he say fucking
yes.
mouth?
Yes.
Wow. Let's just start with that. The only way a 4-year-old boy says that, has the balls. Imagine most 4-year-old kids would be like quivering, hiding behind their dads. Most 4-year-old kids only have the balls to say that as if they're pumped up by someone, and mainly their dad. He's obviously heard his dad say, a whole load of stuff. Let's get to the other clip. This is the bit where he said, I want you to shut your fucking mouth. And then the other clip is...
Well, if you don't have a feedback loop, okay, we'd have to... Sorry, it's strong. X are the same, and they're for the average American. They seem to be mysteriously get wealthy. We don't know why. Comment fields that are also blank, so you don't know why the payment was made.
Trump is just sitting there eating it. I got the clip. I can't. I'll find it.
Yeah, but
where he says, "I want you to. You're not the real president. I want you to go away."
now that I think his dad's taught him. His dad's said, "I'm the president. I'm pulling the strings. I'm the one with the money. I'm the one in charge." And that's the only place that could have come from when you think about it.
And I've seen all these Trump enthusiasts, like, you know, these MAGA people, like, what do they have to say about that? Like, you know, I know Trump could probably break into their house and shag their wife, like, you know, and they'd still support Donald Trump. That's just the nature of the beast out there. But the audacity to Elon Musk to even bring his son to that event, like, you know, to bring your son, sit him down in his chair like most people would, like, you know, the audacity to bring your son, let him run riot, and then sort of say that sort of stuff to the president. And I didn't even see the gestures, to be honest with you.
Yeah. And also, he then tweeted a picture of JFK Jr. You know, the famous picture of JFK Jr. under the desk while you know, JFK was working. You know, this is the next generation. Don't forget as well, this man has not been voted for anything, and he's in the Oval Office making speeches.
Yeah. I to be honest with you, it's American politics, and I don't really care as much. But I think just looking at it from an outside, especially Trump with his macho man persona, you know, there's all those videos of him grabbing world leaders' hands and giving them a firm handshake. That's all out the window now. You've got, like, the moment, like, you know, Trump is all about appearance of showing strength. So when Netanyahu comes and he tucks his chair in like that, for me, that is submission. And we already know the amount of money that's flying around and what community has it and what community is giving it. But they were giving it to both parties anyway. That's the quite scary thing. And that is quite scary, and, you know, that's what sets off people like Ye with their sort of tirades and stuff like that. I just don't understand why a country is allowing, I don't understand why America is allowing people to sort of like dominate them.
I think the irony of his policies being, we don't want immigrants in this country. And we've got the worst immigrant sitting in the White House, Netanyahu, sitting next to the president. He's an immigrant, basically. He's allegedly a war criminal.
I didn't realize, but Jewish people have they can have double nationality, so every Jewish person can be an American citizen. I believe.
Okay.
I believe it's something along the lines. I might be saying that totally wrong.
I know there was a lot of thing about he can't come to this country, he can't go to that country, he can't go to this country. You know, Netanyahu, I think, was flying around for quite a while because he didn't know where he was going to go. But it's crazy that he made all these promises, and he, you know, for me now, like you say, I'm not really interested in politics and American politics as such, but the pop culture of it, if you know what I mean, and sitting back and watching it, and then the overspill into this country. What we need a Trump. What?
Well,
no, we don't.
I just like we said, people are so angry they'll just go with the far right guy, and they see Trump, like, you know, like shameful, like, you know, we're just going off a little bit. Trump, like, you know, after that plane crash, Trump went in and said it was started slamming DEI. DEI, is it diversity sort of inclusion sort of thing? He started slamming that sort of thing before he'd done any research. He sort of slammed. Basically, it was a person of color, or it was a transgender person. Most people thought it was a transgender person by the way he was speaking, because, you know, transgender people apparently can't fly planes and stuff like that. You know, they're mentally not right because of their hormones. They're not like, that's it. That's his view, and he's actually done a whole load of stuff against the trans community. Like, you know, they're actually being shipped to male prisons now. Like, and I'm all like, you know. For me, it should be a woman's choice whether or not they want them there. But I don't think I don't think straight to the men's prison is probably the right idea, because they're going to be in a lot of trouble, or a
I
lot
think
of trouble out there.
a separate unit
Yeah.
completely.
Whatever the women want, because it's like I say, I'm a man. It doesn't affect me. Like, if you ask me, I would want to be with the women. If I had to go to jail.
I totally understand why they'd want to be with the women,
Yep.
but as a woman, we're a bit worried, right? We're not going to go into that subject again, because obviously it caused a load of trouble. But I do feel sorry for those people that, like you say, are being shipped back to these male prisons, and
it's not even safe. It's not even safe for an average build guy in
no,
prison, let alone someone with tits and freaking
likes to wear a frock and a lipping.
Literally, I can see that being problematic. But yeah.
I mean, I told you about the guy that went to Portsmouth, and he said that they literally had them dressed up, men dressed up as women.
Yeah.
They were the bitches, and we know it happens. Yeah. These poor people that are going through whatever they're going through are now going to be used and abused in prisons.
Yeah. Yeah, that did actually bring me onto a part I wanted to talk about as well. Like, there's almost like a social acceptance that when men go to prison, that if you're not of a certain stature or you're not a somebody, you might be a victim of rape, basically, or all sorts of stuff like that. And it's so socially expected, like, to the point where, like, if a small guy that goes to jail, he's going to end up, he's going to end up wearing a dress or wearing some tight short stuff, should the prisons do more to stop men from being exploited in jails?
I think so. They're not there for that. But then I also think of some of them, they've done such absolute heinous crimes, I don't really care.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
And this is what my only conclusion was in my head, was that, like, the prison guards and the prison system, they, like, rather than battling with 1,500 inmates, it's better for the prison guards and stuff to have relationships with the leaders, and the leaders run the show. That way, if a wrong un, or if someone that hurts children goes in somewhere, they can say, give him the wink.
Give
that
him the
guy,
nod.
he's no good, and you know what happens. Especially it's brutal in America. It's brutal. As much as I despise those people, what you see and what you like, just in some of, like, the little clips that you get released on Instagram and stuff like that, like, it is savage.
Yeah.
Savage. Like,
and they keep them alive just enough to continue to do it.
Yeah.
So I think to myself sometimes, and this is where I have my moments where I go to, are we any better than those vile people? These are vile people, by the way, that are being beaten and abused and tortured in prisons. They are vile people. Doesn't matter whatever you do, they're vile.
Yeah.
But are we any better to allow it? Those.
I think if you think about it like this, if someone had done something bad to your family member, you would want them punished.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of socially accepted that most people feel that people that do heinous crimes should be punished. Like, the death penalty is something that is the mob. If they listen to the mob, which is the normal people, if there was a referendum today, should the violent of violent or the vile of vile people be executed by hanging, you would have a majority. I would say at least a 70% majority that would be in favor of hanging, death penalty for the serious people, and I'm kind of with them, to be honest with you on that.
I have to admit, there are certain things and certain crimes that I don't think there's any comeback for, and I don't think there's any point keeping them alive.
We're just too soft. We're too soft in this country. We're too soft. You saw I always talk about Russia. What happened when those guys shot up the mall? They shot up the mall, and they got caught by the Russian police.
And they just got shot, didn't they?
No. They got tortured. They got.
Yeah,
do you not remember the guy coming back into court and he had his ear chopped off? He had a bandaged eye. Like, in this country, we'd be all up in arms to be like, oh my God, look what they've done to him, and blah blah blah.
Human rights. He's got mental health issues. Human rights. The man shot up children, women and children.
In a mall. I don't know what made those guys think it was a good idea to get caught, to get taken alive, like, you know, in a Russian.
No,
You know?
you've been one of
Yeah,
them.
literally, you get caught, you know, you do not want to be. And they released video of one of them in jail, and it was the worst thing I've ever heard. Like, you know, it was just like.
Yeah.
Like just the word, and it was, you know, he was getting it from both ends. Like, you know,
But,
it was.
but then you know, we go, yes, he deserved that.
Yeah, 1,000%.
I think to myself, are we any better than them? You know,
It's difficult, isn't it? You have to really rationalize it. But I suppose
Yeah.
the only way of balancing it is just literally putting it on a plate to you, is saying if it was your family member, someone had done something to, like, you know, how, like the Southport killer guy, like, you know, he done those crimes and he's able to come in court and laugh and joke and stuff like that. Like
and
that
demand.
that is
He
a
was
joke.
demanding things as
That
well.
is-
I want medics. I want this. I want...
That is a joke. That is an absolute. For someone to do something like that, we need to set a clear message, and it should be. It should not. A public torture is probably not realistic, but something like, you know, the family should be able to give him some lashes to scold this man like publicly, like, you know, and that's what's missing in this world, especially.
I think if we bring back the death penalty, it's a deterrent.
Yeah.
If you've got a deterrent, you won't need to rehabilitate as much, because people will be deterred from doing these things.
Yeah.
And you've got something to be scared of, because right now people are committing crimes and they've got nothing to be scared of. We pointed out that this guy got 52 years.
Yeah.
He could be out in 25, and he will only be in his 40s.
That's insane. I think with the judge, with the way the judge was speaking, I don't think there's any intention to let him out early, and he'll be very lucky if he even makes it out of jail alive.
No, I know, and I totally agree. But you know, and I know, the Jamie Bulger killers.
Yep, they're out walking around abusing people again. Yeah.
Exactly. So we know it happened. I mean, I don't think we could have ended those two, because they were children. They were children, and there's nothing we could have done.
I wouldn't have seen them as children, though, to be honest with you. If I, like, you know, that video of them holding, I still remember it to this day. Of them holding his hand and walking him out that shopping center. That video still haunts me to this day. So me personally, I would have voted for those kids to be executed. Like, personally, like, after that.
But as a mom.
Yeah. No, yeah, obviously.
No,
yeah.
no, but, and then you think of those children going, Mum, I don't want to die. Mum, I don't want to die. Mum, please, Mum. And I know that that's probably what little Jamie was doing. But at that moment, he becomes that little boy again. And there's that thing in your head. But there are people like the guy, Soham, Ian.
Yeah. Ian, is it Ian Huntley?
Yeah, Ian Huntley. There's one. Rose West. There's another. Beverly Allen, there's another. These are people that don't need to be alive. There's no reason to keep them alive. There's no reason to spend millions and millions of pounds keeping them alive. Yeah. Ian Brady was kept on alive. Yeah. He tried to starve himself. We kept him alive. Yeah. Why?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't know, man. I just think this country just needs some major deterrents. Otherwise, we're going to have some major problems. Like,
and also, I think we need to get tough with the next generation. And I'm genuine when I say this.
1,000%. With these stabbings, like, you know, if a kid knows that he's going to get 10 years in jail for carrying a knife, if he gets caught carrying a knife, he's going to get 10 years in jail. They're going to stop carrying knives. I'm just telling you. Once they start getting sentenced, they're gonna stop carrying those knives. If a kid stabs someone, if you take a life, you give, your life is gone. Jail.
And take away the PlayStations, take away the TVs,
I think they do that for an easy life, don't they? Which
I know they do it for an easy life, but we've got to show them that this is not about. This is about us teaching you and deterring you.
Chain gang. We need chain gang to be brought back. And it won't ever happen because, you know, we don't have a leader like Putin, for instance. Like, you know, I was looking at a documentary and it was showing the worst prisons where they house the worst inmates. Like, you know, you think there's any human rights in them prison cells?
No.
Like, you know, because Putin is like like, you know, he's the man in charge. Technical error over here. Let's play a song when she comes back.
Sorry. Hello.
Sorry, I was just listening to music. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Oh, good God. She's got to go. What do we think, guys? Death penalty? Bring it back or not? Free speech? Free speech and hate speech. Is there any difference? Can you hear me, my dear?
Yes.
Lovely.
Mia ringing from the.
Lovely.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see the point in keeping these people alive. These people need to be gone, but we do need to get tough with the next generation. And I think the way to do it's not conscription, because, to be fair, I don't want those idiots with guns, but working for their benefits.
No, but I'm kind of the opposite in terms of that. To be honest with you, I think that there are certain kids that, like, you know, like there is a simple formula of these kids and how they end up. The ones that get expelled from school early, at 4, but like 13, 14, say 12, between 12 and 14, the ones that get expelled from school have, like, you come from sort of broken homes, so to speak. Like, you know, they're the ones that end like they're the ones that end up carrying the knives, end up going out and doing stuff, looking for a role model. They end up in a gang, like, you know. So I'm totally opposite. I think that if kids start going off the rails, there should be sort of like a military style boot camp that teaches these kids proper skills and proper discipline.
And dignity.
And like, you know, you teach a kid to get up every morning, start training, start running, start studying, and then within 5 years they've got some sort of trade where they can earn money, because that's the main thing. Your kids are, especially boys from the age of, I would say, 13 to 16. If those kids don't understand any sort of work ethic, like they've not had a part-time job or anything like that, and they're not particularly educated, they just sort of a little bit lost in the system. They feel like they've got no options. They need a bit of guidance. If they don't meet someone that tells them, like, get a job, or someone that gives them a break, they're gonna find a gang leader and you can say, sell these drugs for me, and then that's just the system started from there. So you need to target children from the age of 12, some maybe even younger, 12 to 16, and you need to get them in some sort of military group, and give them some worth and some sense of pride and community and stuff like that. Train them up, give them a trade, and then by 18, these people are out working, they've got a trade, they're working, and they're contributing to society, rather than out stabbing people, selling drugs, and doing all sorts of madness.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Give them a trade, teach them work. I just don't want to give them weapons.
That should be. I would say this, like, you know, my PM speech. If I was running for Prime Minister, I would say that mandatory. If kids are struggling at school and they have no intention to go to, if they have no intention of, like, going to university, college, or they not quite qualified, I would make it mandatory for every child to go to some sort of trade school and learn a trade. I'd make it mandatory. Mandatory.
I think the whole education system needs a big shake-up anyway.
Yeah.
We don't need algebra. We need lessons in.
It's honestly, it's pathetic. Some of this maths, like, you know, I see some of my kids' maths and I'm just like, when are you gonna do that? Like, you're never gonna do it. It's a waste. Like, you know, for the ones that want to go into science and all sorts of fields like that, professional fields, it's good for them. Maybe it's good for them. I don't know. But most of the stuff they learn, like, for me personally, to get on in life, kids need to learn how to read. Learn how to read, and they need to learn how to add up. If a kid can read properly and add up, you take away all the other bullshit subjects, read and add up, they can do anything. They can contribute to society. They're saying 40% of kids leave school not being able to read. Like, you know, not being able to read, like, you know, and it might even be higher in some cases. So. So yeah, going on to Elon Musk, going back to Elon Musk, sorry, we were talking about him. As much as I was giving him stick, like, you know, a lot of people are upset with him and stuff like that. He's slashing all these budgets, and apparently he's saving all this money and stuff. Like, you know, if people were stealing money, and if, like, that's basically what he's alluding to, people are stealing money and he's finding it out, then all power to him, man. All power to him.
Yeah,
like,
I do think that is I mean, this is obviously the job of Doge anyway, but that is a good thing. You do need somebody to go in and go shake it all up and say, I mean, what was it? There was a woman the other day that is in a £200,000 or $200,000 job, but is worth 12 million.
Yeah, I saw that.
I know. I was like, and they were like, make it make sense.
Yeah.
Make that make sense.
Yeah.
And because I said to you the other day, didn't I? Because you remember we was talking about there's a list in the UK of all these projects that have been set up by the government and stupid money's been thrown. I think we should go through that.
It would take like, this is why Elon Musk is obviously wants to back a horse in this country. Like, if he backs a leader and that leader gets in, that leader can bring, well, to be honest with you, I don't know if it works the same, because they have I don't know whether we have like the president and the prime minister have the same sort of powers in each country, like, because well, they definitely don't have the what's it called? All those executive orders, like, prime minister.
No, but we still have the treasury, don't we? We have a treasury, and if he goes in and sees what's happening with that budget, and I think that's what you need. You do need somebody to go.
You do. You need someone with money that's not corruptible, that's got no need to steal money. Basically,
Yeah.
You do need that. To be honest with you, I just think the Democrats are upset because it's not their billionaire in their pocket that's doing that job, sort of thing. That's generally what it is. And
I do think he's got an ulterior motive. I don't know what it is yet, and I haven't seen it.
A lot of people are simply saying that he's going on about Mars, and Mars is full of lithium, and he needs lithium. He needs like extreme amounts of lithium for his batteries, for his electric cars and stuff like that. So that's why his obsession with Mars is. That's what someone was talking about. Like, I might have that totally wrong, but there's a mineral out there for his electric cars and his AI technology and stuff, and that's why the race to Mars is on.
I mean, we know he's got Asperger's. He's got Asperger's, so some of the things will always be over our heads.
What did you think of him? Did you actually watch the full interview of him and Trump standing together and him talking? Like,
I didn't. No.
I was
think...
very underwhelmed by him, because Donald Trump was prompting him. He was like, "So tell us what you found," and he kind of just started waffling about stuff.
But I think he's been told to tone it down because of what he did at the inauguration and the whole.
Oh yes, you don't need another one of those moments.
No, and I think that's what they'd said to him. Tone it down. Now, when you say something like that to somebody that has no social cues, that is Asperger's or autism, tone it down. They will literally, go into automation, and this is what I'm going to talk about, and we are going to do this. So I think that's possibly what they've done with him. They've said, listen, we don't want none of that.
I didn't get any impression that he was on a leash. The only person I saw on a leash on that interview was Donald Trump. That's the only person I saw on a leash. It did come out as well. It did come out as well that he did tell a few porkies, like, about the condoms and stuff like that. He told a few porkies. So this is what they're saying on the Doge website. If there's official findings, because everything at the minute is hearsay. Like, there's no actual proof that credible people can go and analyze and vet to say, okay, he's right. It seems to be. So he did throw out a whole load of stuff, and that's probably what he was actually doing. He probably didn't want to fall into that trap again, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But Kitty, I think we've had a lovely power hour anyway on here.
We have. I really enjoyed it.
And yes, guys, thank you for joining us. We're going to come up with a regular time and schedule. And Kitty, you have a lovely day, and thank you for joining us.
You too, Bridget. Thank you.